It could be said that there's really no best fly rod for any particular water, but if you're pretty good at using what you have for certain situations, but you have other rods and you don't know should I bring them or not, well, here are a few things to consider and the way I like to look at it. So a few different things you might want to consider. Maybe if you typically fish a 4-weight and you want to maybe say, should I bring the 6-weight? Or if you have a 6-weight and you think, well, could I do a 4-weight? Well, there's a couple of different things you might want to consider. So if you're typically used to fishing a very specific type of water for a very specific type of fish or the same species, but you want to maybe venture into new parts of that beat or new parts of that water, or maybe it's slightly different condition-wise, and so it might require different types of techniques, here are a few things to consider. If you're fishing a different hatch, if you're normally somebody who nymphs, and then you're like, well, I see hatches all the time, maybe I need to fish something different, or you know there's a cicada hatch coming, and you're thinking to yourself, well, maybe I might need something different, maybe going to a 5-weight instead of the 4-weight, or maybe going to the 6-weight instead of the 4-weight to cast these bigger, bushier flies, for salmon flies, for example, versus your small little elk hair caddis, might be worthwhile if you're going to line up and then cast these bigger flies. Another thing to consider is maybe your actual water is different. Maybe instead of you're fishing your normal water level, but you have much higher flows and runoff, it might behoove you to actually go from the 4 or 5-weight to the 6-weight so you can fight the fish, the same fish, in a different current that's stronger. Or maybe you just had a massive flooding blowout and you can assume that there's going to be more wood in the water you normally fish, and so you want to be able to have the backbone to maneuver or strong-arm fish out of wood or away from wood or stone situations. Sometimes in the waters, if I'm fishing a normal stretch, but I know I'm going to go further into the beat of overhanging branches, I'll fish a smaller rod if I know that it's going to be normal gravel shelving. But if I know it's pretty woody and dense, I'll keep, or I'll even up my rod from a 4 to a 6-weight. It might not offer as much tippet protection, but at least I'll be able to try my best to backbone fish away from wood if they try to escape there if I hook into a good-sized fish. And then there's the obvious few things where you're normally used to using a dry fly, but you want to switch it up and try a very specific technique like Euro nymphing or tight line nymphing, and so you want to go for a rod designed for that. Or maybe you're normally used to fishing nymphs and you want to start chucking streamers. Well, let's be real, you can do it with your normal gear, but it makes life a whole lot easier to throw a streamer on a designated or beefier rod if you're going to be chucking actual meaty-sized streamers for big fish. So those are obvious ones, but that's just within one particular species. And you can obviously adjust what you're talking about here too. Like if we're talking trout, that's that 3 to 6, 7 class route. But if you're talking panfish, maybe you're going from a 1-weight or a 2-weight to a 5-weight. Or maybe if you're talking muskie, you're going from a 9 or 10-weight to a 12 or even 14-weight, like depending. So that being said, you can't also think to yourself, realistically, if I'm going to switch species, there should be also some change there too. But even within your own fishing in the same stream, think about conditions, water level, hatches, size of typical fish. Is it this time of the year where you typically, if you're in a tributary, your resident fish are kind of getting outclassed by some of your bigger lake run or Pacific or Atlantic run fish, and you need to beef it up just in case you hook one of those other big fish. So just some things to consider. I know there's no concrete answer, but that's the fun part about fly fishing, is that realistically there's no real right answer, but you get to go figure it out for yourselves. Don't forget, we have awesome apparel, hats, and sweet, hoodies and all kinds of stuff, stickers, down below in the links below. Please go ahead and check those out. It really means a lot and help out the channel. Hopefully the video was fun, informative. Until next time, guys, catch you guys on the flip side. Tight lines, and we're out.